Hi, everybody. We're welcoming you into this webinar today. So we're excited. I love this webinar. We've been chatting. Oh, look, everybody's coming in. Wonderful. So happy to see you. We're going to start with a little video talking about what we're going to chat about today. And we're very excited because I've got some great panelists on. We are recording this so people can watch the webinars, and we also have a podcast availability, which is fantastic. And I do want to do a special thank you to Zen Planner, who is our sponsor and helps us make these things happen. Sean Senegan, our creative director, is managing this along with our registration coordinator, Daniela, who's joining us today as well. We've got some fantastic panelists, and we're going to be talking about how to grow your personal training business and group X offerings as well using SGT, which is small group training. So I'm welcoming Sheldon McBee, who I've been friends with for longer than we probably both want to remember. We worked together with Les Mills. Sheldon holds a master's degree of science in human nutrition. He is an executive director at the Universal Athletic Club. He's a content creator also for Wellbeats. He's an ACE certified personal trainer as well as group fitness instructor. He's got 19 years experience in health and fitness, and he's an experienced international presenter. He's been presenting everywhere. Okay, from CanFit Pro in Canada, he's at the Mania conventions with us, and he's been published and is also on advisory panels with Club Solutions magazine. And then we also have Rachel Cosgrove that I had the pleasure of presenting with on a leadership panel, I think it was at the Idea Fitness conference. And I was very impressed with Rachel, which is very exciting. She's an amazing businesswoman. She works with Results Fitness, which is a top training studio that they opened in 2000. And she also runs a consulting business and mentorship. Her gym has quadrupled its size since its first open. And this is what she shares, her little secrets that really made this work with people. And her gym was voted one of the top 10 gyms in the United States by Men's Health magazine for 3 years in a row, which is very cool. She's the author of The Female Body Breakthrough, a women's health columnist, a Nike performance expert, author. Oh my God, what haven't you written? She's got her newest book, Age Strong, which God knows I need to read.
I've just been doing this a long time as well.
Really? Yeah, we just stick around and we don't give up. That's I swear to God, I think me and the Rolling Stones and all you on this panel, that's the secret to success. Just don't fall off the stage, Bruce Springsteen. Okay, we've also got Dan Kleckner with us. He's the owner of Cutting Edge Fitness in Kirkland and Issaquah, Washington, in Washington State. And he's also, he mentors several startup gym owners. So he owns a couple of very successful gyms. He's a well-respected international speaker. He has spoken at our conferences. He's an expert in business startup gyms, improving the strength and power for golf and other rotational sports. Hello, hockey, that's my big, everybody knows that's what my sons play. And then I have Jeff Zwiefel, who I used to work for you guys for a decade at Lifetime Fitness. I loved it at your Old Orchard facility. It's always been in my heart. Jeff is an amazing leader. He's the president and COO of Lifetime Fitness. He holds a bachelor's degree in physical education, a master's in exercise physiology. He has over 30 years in the health, fitness, wellness industry, and he's led teams, this is terrifying to me, of up to 30,000 employees. He's a board member with HFA, which is formerly IRSA, And he's also a member of the Minnesota State University National Advisory Board. He's certified by everybody. Everybody's certified by everybody. I'm very excited about this panel. And one of the first things we started chatting about before we turned the camera on was pricing models. Okay, because everybody gets concerned, how can I make my small group training, my personal training, my group X training more profitable? So I'm actually going to start with you, Sheldon, about what is your pricing model at Universal?
Yeah, so to frame this up, Universal, we are a single site health club in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. In this area, considered a higher end facility. And we have small group training. Small group training, we do about $1.7 million in training in our one site. And of that, probably 80% of that is small group training. So a lot of it is driven by small group. And we define that as any group that's 9 people or less per session. So in order for it to be, profitable in terms of pricing, we've experimented with different ways to bill clients for access. We found the best way to project revenue, to pay an instructor, to be profitable was to have a subscription model. And there's many different kinds that exist.
Oh, I think we lost Sheldon. He kind of froze on this. Rachel, I think we started talking about how it's much better for us to be able to have a model that's bi-weekly rather than monthly. Could you elaborate on that? And Sheldon, if you can hear us, please, you could hang up and log in again and we'll get you on.
Sure. So biweekly billing is something that we came across. We were for years billing monthly, every month, they got billed. And so like Sheldon, it's all inclusive. So the monthly billing includes the training sessions with the coach, the small group training sessions. And then, really with the biweekly billing, the good part about that, I think for a lot of us, for us at least, we were billing every month, and over the 12 months didn't realize there's 4 weeks out of the year that we weren't billing for. We actually did realize it, and we kind of would say, oh, well, those 4 weeks, you're probably going to miss a session, and we'll make it up in the wash kind of thing. But you don't want to do that with your business. You actually want to run your business with numbers that are all accounted for. And so realizing that we did need to switch over to biweekly billing, it really did make a big difference for us, for not only adding extra revenue, because now you are getting those 4 extra payments a year, but also because you're able to account for the training sessions. So each time they get billed, they get their training sessions added to their account. And so that everything is paid for. It's not like they're going to run out of sessions because there was a 5-week month and now you're, kind of willy-nillying your business, which is never a good thing when it comes to business. So definitely we are fans of the biweekly billing system and have found it to work great.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't realize, there's 12 months in a year, and some months are 4 weeks, some months squeak into 5 weeks, and you don't want to lose those 4 weeks of payment. And I also think it was really important. You mentioned this before about paying your coaches. Isn't it great to pay them, every other week for them to receive their revenue? All right, Sheldon, you're back on, babe.
Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. So, yes.
So could you elaborate again on the payment, the biweekly? Rachel was able to inform us on that they do that with her facility with Results Fitness. But at Universal, you've been doing that for quite some time.
Yeah, I've been doing that for about 10 years. And we settled in on this I think I caught the end of what Rachel was saying there about being able to capture an extra billing cycle, which is always great. But it helps us project revenue really well when we know, are we plus, are we minus in biweekly accounts? How do we enhance that number? We could better manage mitigation and attrition, like cancel and freeze requests, and how to mitigate that to keep it more profitable. And so we also find that we're able to have a better payroll structure for our coaches and trainers. Because for our trainers, they essentially get a percentage of everything that's dumped into their biweekly billing if their client belongs to them every 2 weeks. So we find that for the trainers, there's less variability, less variation, I should say, in their biweekly pay structure. So they're more satisfied. They don't feel like it's too seasonal of an income. And plus, we find that when we're presenting price to the potential client, that it's less sticker shock to see a bigger number versus a smaller number. So they feel like I can stomach X amount of dollars every 2 weeks versus this much every month. It's just a psychological thing that we've seen when we present price. So for all those reasons, we just found it a great way to settle in on a good structure. And we could still do intro offers. We can play with things like having a higher upfront and then delay billing later with higher value upfront. There's lots of things you could do to play with to get someone to bite on that carrot and then settle in on the biweekly billing.
That's fantastic. And you guys, just so you know, you can click on the chat box, which is 2 little icons to the left of the green share button, and submit your questions. And I'd be happy to make sure get these panelists to answer us, because we've got about 40 people on, almost 40 people on, and we have over, I think over 120, 130 registrants for the webinar. So I want to make sure we get to your questions as well. Dan, I loved it when we turned the camera on and we were chatting about this at the beginning. You're like, well, I don't disagree with these 2 people. And can you share your pricing model that you have found to be the most effective up in the Seattle, Washington area?
Yeah, so we're pretty lucky because we're in a pretty affluent area up here with a lot of tech companies and that kind of stuff. So we majority of our members are on 12-month memberships. We charge 25% more if people want to go month to month, but I'd say about 95% of our members are on 12-month memberships. The only thing we do slightly different is we do still bill monthly versus biweekly, but that does allow us still to be able to project our revenue out in the future, know what our expenses are going to be, know what our revenue is going to be, because everybody's getting billed every month. And our semi-private training about average is about $50 a session, and our average membership is about $350 to $400 a month.
So you're averaging about $50 a session.
Yeah, on average.
Yeah, and you had like a 3-tier pricing model, didn't you? I think you broke it down for us before.
Yeah, we do just 5, 8, and 12 sessions a month. So like our 5 session a month is $300, our 8 is $359, and our 12 is $429.
Okay, very good. What do the majority of people sign up for?
Either 8 or 12, because we kind of shy people away from the 5 and that more of a maintenance plan. So I'd say about half our members are on 8, half are on 12.
And how many people do you usually accommodate in your small group training?
We do just 4 per hour, but since we're averaging about $50, I know Rachel talked about this a little bit before we started recording, we're making about $200 a session when those sessions are full, which the majority of them are, and then, which is still pretty high profit margins based off what we're paying our coach per hour as well.
Interesting. I'll remember. Rachel, I want to ask you again about your 6-person model. But Jeff, how did you guys settle on your pricing model, and what has been the most effective for you at Lifetime?
I appreciate it, Sarah. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here with everybody else today. Obviously, with the growth and popularity of small group training, it's a wonderful topic to dig into. That I don't think there's a better way to create more connectivity and community in the club, and also showcase your best-in-class performers, as most people know in this industry. We started out with really using the small group training offerings, and we have 3 distinct branded formats. And again, I say branded because we've been trying to drive, as strong as possible national recognition of those branded and premium experiences. We started out by using it as a membership upgrade. Again, given the fact that Lifetime, generates within its 180 clubs about 70% of its revenue of $2.4 billion in membership dues. We really want to continue to make sure that we contribute to, like other experts have said on the call here, the very predictable annuity stream of dues. So, for example, we'd have a club that was priced at $99 and all you could eat small group training for $189 a month. And so we would drive those upgrades, and you could have unlimited access to all the small group training classes you want. We still have clubs like that, but as we've been launching more higher priced, more iconic clubs across the country, we have started to bundle our small group training into the entry-level price of the membership itself. And it's worked phenomenally well in order for us to, as I think everybody knows so well in this call, one, drive new member acquisition, but most importantly as well, really drive record level attrition levels and tremendous retention.
Yeah, okay. And Rachel, do you have a base membership fee? And then you have the small group training pricing on top of that? And since what Jeff had mentioned with Lifetime, 70% of their revenue comes from membership. How, with a smaller facility, an independent club, how does this span out for you?
No, we actually, all of our memberships include a coach. So everyone is signing up on either once, twice, or 3 times a week with a coach. And so we don't, there's no membership. You can't just join our gym unless you're working with a coach. So if they're working with a coach once a week, it's $125 biweekly. If they're working with a coach twice a week, it's $175 biweekly. And then if they're working with a coach 3 times a week, it's $210 biweekly. And those are on an annual commitment. So they are committing for the year. And if they did want to go month to month, it would be about a 20% more price point.
Okay. And what is the relationship between a personal training client and the small group? Do you do a lot of individual personal training, or is everything pretty much small group focused at Results?
So we started as one-on-one personal trainers. My husband and I opened our gym as one-on-one personal trainers. And we started to realize pretty quick that here I am training one client, here he is training one client. Now we have to hire a trainer who's training one client and hire another trainer who's training one client. And then our gym was full because we were very small at the time. And so it was like, we don't have room for anybody else. And we started to realize I can actually keep an eye on all 4 of these clients, and I don't actually need all 3 coaches in here. And then I could add another client in the room and I could actually handle this as one coach. And so really early, we adopted semi-private coaching, and which is what we call it. It's basically, they're getting all the benefits of a one-on-one coach. You're getting that customized program, you're getting that attention, you're getting them watching your form, but you also get the benefits of the group coaching with the camaraderie, the support, the other people in the room. And so it's no longer, so we don't offer one-on-one. If people come in and they ask for one-on-one, we tell them they can buy out all the slots, but nobody's ever going to pay that amount of money because we've really found it to be more effective. We get better results with the model that we run with our semi-private coaching, because when you have more people in the room, there's more energy, there's more accountability, there's better results. And so because we individualize the programs, they still get the benefit of a one-on-one coach. They're going to get the results that are going to be even better. And then we've been able to put it at a price point where they can do it long-term. They don't just sign up for a package and then they quit. They sign up for years. I mean, we've been open, we're going on 25 years, and we've had clients that we're just part of their regular monthly bills. Like, this is just part of what they do, and they've been with us for 25 years. And it's just, because it's at an affordable amount, that it's not a one-on-one price point. So now, we don't actually offer one-on-one training because we actually feel that semi-private coaching is a much superior model.
Yeah. And what is the price point you said per training session per person, kind of on average?
Sure. If you broke it down, it's going to end up being on average around 45 to 50 per session. And we do up to 6 people in a coaching session. So, depending on if they're on 1 time a week or 3 times a week, obviously it's going to be more or less if you did the math. We do also, program for them. So we do account for that as well. So there is some time that's accounted for in that is included of us sitting down and writing that program as well.
That's very interesting. And what I think at one point you said the lower end, or maybe this was Dan who said the lower end almost comes out to the $35 an hour.
Our 3 times a week, it's going to be, it ends up about 35 because the 3 times a week people are, and then if you do, if you have 6 people in each hour, it still works out because you're going to end up with 200, you're making 210 gross revenue. So, if we're working on that, if we look at, with a model of maybe you're giving 30% to the coach, they're still going to make a good hourly wage with those 6 people in the hour. So, right.
And you look at it like where I live, it's a pretty expensive area. When I went in to go take an individual yoga class, it was $38 a yoga class in independent. Wow. So of course I bought a package and blah, 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 but still that's kind of like what's expected now. I remember when I started, it was like $6 for an individual group X class. And I was lucky if I got, $22 an hour to personal train somebody. Okay, I'm old. I'll stop talking about that now. Dan, talk to us about the per price that people end up paying and what's like, I know Rachel, at one point you had said with these 6 people, I thought it would be, like 4 friends who joined up and maybe 2 extra people who joined in. But it seems to be all these independent people that bond together. How does that work the same way for you guys, that it is building that community?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So a lot of our clients, obviously, like everybody, are busy. So we don't want to have them like find 4 friends to come in with. So they just schedule on whatever time works best for them. And then they'll have the coach ready to go for them. Their coach will have their program, same thing as Rachel. We individualize the program to the client. And so we do have to hire coaches that are good at being able to adapt to 4 different people during the hour and different programs and stuff. But it also does start to build the sense of community, because a lot of them do end up coming in during similar times. And so they meet the same people that are usually in their group and foster that environment, relationship and stuff like that. So, but yeah, we don't have them find the people they're signing up with. They just sign up for whatever time works best. And then there'll be 4 people in that hour.
Oh, that's good. That's great. I got an interesting question, and Jeff, I'm gonna shoot this at you because I know Lifetime's going to pay differently than, let's say, Universal. So I'm going to hit Jeff, you and Sheldon up with this. How Anne asked us a question: how do you pay the trainer? Is it commissions? Rachel just stated 30%. Or what percentage do you pay, or do you pay a set fee when you're compensating someone for small group training?
Yeah, it's really interesting, Sarah. When we started this program, I don't know, probably a decade ago, 8-10 years ago, we were using our personal training teams. We have currently 3,800 personal trainers within the Lifetime system, approaching the 4,000 mark across the 180 clubs and 17.2 million square feet of real estate right now. But we found, as everybody knows on the call, and Sarah, so extremely well, there were a smaller number of trainers, and I want to hit your question specifically, but have a basis for my response. A smaller number of trainers were equipped adequately to deliver this kind of high-level engaging experience that we were looking for in a group setting. Our ratios of instructor to participant on our small group training is more like 1 to 8 to 15. So it is really a dynamic on the stage, on our fitness floor, a performer that really needs to understand, as cueing and how to use the music as a motivator. So we were on a commissionable basis with our trainers before. We were basing it on, their normal commission rate. But now with group fitness instructors that we're using as part of the formats, we're paying them an hourly rate, a flat rate for that. And we've talked at all kinds of length, as most people have thought about, do we incentivize $1 more per participant or $2 more per participant? But our overall participation in classes, we had 115,000 people in our classes in Q1, and we're running at about a 25% penetration of our small group training classes right now.
If I were going to ask you, all right, so these are actually, it sounds like you're almost talking about large group training rather than small group training. And if
well,
you look at that
our small group training is, more comparable to what you'd see at an OTF or a Barry's probably than what you would classify as a really small group personal training program of 1 to 4 and 1 to 5.
And if you were going to give, I know you guys are all over the country, but if you were going to give exactly what you pay them, and I know you don't do the commission, what range do you pay?
Yeah, it's probably between, for us, somewhere between $60 and $90 an hour.
$60 and $90 an hour. Oh,
Yeah, it
cool.
would be a reasonable average given the demographics.
Okay, and Sheldon, what do you guys do? You guys do that percentage commission, or what tends to work best with your coaches?
Yeah, so at Universal, we're probably sitting in between what you all listeners are hearing here. Our groups can range between mostly 9 people is the cap. There's a couple of experiences that push that to 15, but we have 3 different experiences you could choose from as a client. You can either go, I want to look better. So it's using more of the traditional aesthetic style training, isolating muscle groups, bodybuilding type of training approach. That's one. The second one is all functional. It's just functional movements in various planes of movement so you function better. We call that your feel better program. And then we've got a third one that's about moving better. It's a lot of Metcon conditioning, high volume, a lot of variation. There's these 3 things. Now, within that realm, you pick which one suits you. Do you want to look, move, or perform better? Pick what you want, and we're going to train you for that aspect. Now, with that said, what happens is you've got a coach who is commission-based at our facility. They work with the club to help grow their book of clients. We call that a roster here, to whatever capacity they feel is full. We typically say when your hours are 60% capacity, you're approaching a more full book and can work on retention strategy. So we pay them a commission, and what we do is we give them 35% if their roster of clients are contributing $2,000 or less every 2 weeks. You're going to get that. If you are at $3,000 every 2 weeks, we're going to increase that to 39%. If you're at $4,000, we're going to go to 42%. Above that, you're going to make 45% of what your entire roster brings in every 2 weeks. So, we've got a couple of coaches here who do significantly break that $4,000 barrier, and they're, making 6 figures right now, easily working 5 hours a day, and so that structure works well for us because for us, this is not going to work for everybody. For us, it does work for 2 reasons. One is that the coach is actually incentivized to get some referrals, talk to people, to when someone does go in front of them for a trial or a member onboarding, they are all over that client, the absolute greatest experience possible because we want to sign this person up. Secondly, like I mentioned earlier, it just creates less variation per payroll because, if your roster brings in $4,000, well, then you're going to get X amount going into your payroll guaranteed every 2 weeks. So it just that does work for us to bring the right coaches in.
And you know what I really like about that? A lot of times when you're dealing with salespeople and you're dealing with commissions, a lot of times what happens is the more money the salesperson is bringing in, the company starts reducing just slightly the commission percentage. But you've reversed that.
Yes, reverse.
Which is brilliant for Universal because you want me as a coach to bring in more money. I don't want to make it 35%. I want to make 39%. I want to make 42%. I love that. And you found that works. And then you get individuals that are making, 6 figures, which is fantastic, as we all should in the fitness industry, right? I do have a few more questions coming up here, but before I jump into them, we had our assessments and nutrition coaching included with memberships, or are these extra ancillary revenue that you can bring in for the programs? Before I do this, I really want to thank Zen Planner, who is our sponsor, and we're going to show a short little video here promoting them. Here we go.
Is your fitness business ready for a boost? Zen Planner is here to help. Our software simplifies success by handling the heavy lifting in your operations. Designed by industry experts, we provide tailored solutions that let you focus on what matters most. Fuel brand loyalty and turn your passion into profit with our lead generating tools. Zen Planner supports your business journey every step of the way. Visit zenplanner.com today.
Very cool. Thank you so much. And I really do appreciate Zen Planner that they're very supportive of SCW and they're very supportive of None of Your Business. So Rachel, do you do the assessments or nutrition coaching for your members? Is this something that's included or is this something that you charge extra for?
We do. Our assessment is actually part of our sales strategy. And so, and I wanted to just jump in. The 30% that I had said was just a number. We actually do charge, we pay our coaches a flat hourly, and then they get an extra flat amount per client. And so same idea with the roster, like the more clients they have on their roster, the higher per client they make, but it is a flat, $2 to $4 per client. So just to throw that out there as another idea for the paying the trainers. And so with that, when they're doing a strategy, we call it a strategy session. And that's the initial assessment where they're going to meet a client for the first time. And so, for us, we do have them on an hourly rate, but then they can make a commission if they sign that client up. And so that initial assessment is usually done with whatever coach that we're going to hope to put them on their schedule, so that they can build that rapport. And, then that coach would design that person's program. And then hopefully that client we all do work as a team though, because a lot of times, sometimes a client will come in for their initial strategy session and then they end up working out at a different time. And so we do all work on the same systems. We all, we use Bridge Athletic software that we deliver our programming on. So it's all under a template that we all work together. So that way we can, clients can jump around from different trainers because we do work as a team. But yes, they do start with an initial assessment. And then as far as nutrition coaching, we keep it very habit-based. So we do, the coaches will touch base on nutrition and be coaching nutrition. It's obviously hard to really get a lot of, one-on-one, nutrition coaching time. So throughout the year, we offer programs that usually like an 8-week program, like we just kicked off one of our 8-week programs where we have nutrition accountability meetings that the clients can pay extra for, and then they can be a part of, a nutrition accountability meeting in addition to their coaching sessions.
Oh, I like that, nutrition accountability. Dan, are you doing programs like that? And I also found it interesting, Rachel, you're talking about 8-week programs, which of course can document more success, but I wonder about that being such a long program. Dan, what are you finding works for you guys?
Yeah, we're similar. Our initial assessment is free and kind of part of our selling strategy as well. We have a lot of golfers in the area, so we do our TPI screen as part of our initial consultation and sales process. And then as far as nutrition goes, also similar to what Rachel was saying, our coaches check in with them. We give them all the basics. We do all that kind of stuff. And then if they want a more in-depth kind of one-on-one, we do a 30-day program where they meet with a coach once a week for 30 minutes on Zoom to review food log and that kind of stuff. And so if they want more in depth, they can do the 30-day program. But we give them all the basics and accountability stuff as well, as far as nutrition goes.
That's great. And Sheldon, what about you guys?
Yeah, so we do precision nutrition here. Basically, we don't push it much further than that. We used to have a registered dietitian on staff, but it just didn't work out for us for a lot of other reasons and won't get into here. But essentially, we don't bake it into the training, so it's an add-on. So if you want to add on to precision, we add on either $14 or $19 bi-weekly is added on to then layer that into your training if you want to. And that's all just behavior modification. That's what it is. We don't deliver, here's your menu plan, follow it. We just don't think that's a good approach for most of our clients. Assessment is always baked into all of our programming. But like Rachel, we do it a team approach because a lot of our coaches, they're working back to back to back to back in like 5 or 6 hour shifts. And it's tough for them to break away from their group to assess someone coming in the middle of all of that. So we typically will have a manager, director, or one of our club concierge who will do the sit down intake, needs analysis, functional movement screen. And if there's another assessment they want, they'll do that and then they'll deliver it to the coach who will then interpret the data with the client and then get started from there. So we do include assessment, and the nutrition is an add-on.
Yeah, and I always find that interesting because there is a okay, here I go. I'm wearing my lawyer hat again. Can't help it. Tried to rip it off. Can't get rid of it. If you're doing an assessment, which all of us do for personal training and for small group training, if you're doing that assessment, it's got to be passed on to the trainer. And if you're doing the assessment, you're doing it in written form, the best thing to do is also to put an attestation clause in your forms, in your health history forms, your Part Qs, whatever you're doing, that says, I understand that this initial assessment is only going to be utilized for this initial interview, and my facility results, universal, et cetera, cutting edge, it will not be held accountable for the individual coach. And this gives them general recommendations, which is very valuable, but will also limit your liability. So that's my little recommendation. And Jeff, how are you guys doing that? Are you charging extra for your assessments? Because I know you're getting the majority of your revenue from the membership, and then this is ancillary revenue for small group. But do you include the assessments, and are you finding success with nutrition programs that you offer at Lifetime?
Yeah, we, as a part of our program, obviously, like so many operators, offer a fairly extensive new member onboarding assessment, and not something specific to our small group training program. And nutrition coaching, our blood testing, food allergies, and obviously our nutritional supplements are all separate from the program. But of course, all of our coaches and performers, trainers are all highly incentivized to ensure that we do what we call the core three, right? Know it, nourish it, move it. And that we're not one singular dimension of just fitness, exercise, or movement, rather that we're really trying to make sure that they understand how their body works and how they can adapt to it. And also, very importantly, of course, address the nutrition and supplementation part of that equation.
And what I find interesting is Lifetime is really to try to work in a lot of the medical. I know you do this with the Ozempic and the GLP-1s, and I find that fascinating. Has Lifetime experienced some success with integrating some of the medical evaluations?
Yeah, we really have, Sarah. There's no doubt. When I launched it here about a year ago in Minnesota to the 75,000 memberships across our 22 clubs in our home base in Minnesota, in Minneapolis, our demand was so much higher than our supply that we had to hire more PAs, more MDs, and more NPs. So, we are doing an extensive 95 panel blood biomarkers. So we go deep to try to understand what's going on inside and how to optimize your health. Without that, baseline knowledge, we're doing DEXA scans on these customers, of course, because with our resistance training program, we're having a nutritionist and a personal trainer assigned to those clients as part of our Miura program, our Miura longevity program. So, and so that's got a separate subscription membership to that program. But yeah, we're finding amazing success with that, because I think people recognize that it's a wild, wild west right now on GLP-1s. It's a crazy category, as everybody knows on this call. And it's really important for us as health, and fitness and wellness professionals to manage this, because it's a phenomenal tailwind, right? You've seen the data, Sarah. The TAM is supposed to be a $6.7 billion add to the total addressable market of health clubs. Customers are twice as likely to work out with it than not on a GLP-1, because they've got hope. Now we've got to provide them the solutions, right? With a comprehensive behavioral mod, nutrition, exercise, strength training, body composition. And I know that's not the focus of our call, but I want to just make sure we clarify our approach.
But it is valuable, because I hope I pronounced it correct, Miura program that you're offering, it's a blend of, it's almost like having a private medical doctor affiliated with you, like those special programs that they have. So for facilities that are independent, Rachel owns one facility, Dan works with two facilities. Merging with some type of medical technician or practitioner seems to be very valuable now, because of the drift towards wellness. I am going to jump back in. How do you guys, I'm shifting gears here. I hope it's okay. How do you optimize your studio operations? And I know, Rachel, you're doing some online training. How have you been able to maintain it post-pandemic and actually monetize it?
So we offer a hybrid, we call it a hybrid membership. So our programs get delivered through an app. I think most coaches or trainers are using some kind of an app, whether it's Trainerize or for us, it's Bridge Athletic. And so that app gets used whether they're in our gym in person with us or they're in their home gym doing it on their own. So that way we can coach them no matter where they're at. And so we have clients that never come in the gym that we coach remotely that have their own home gym, and we jump on a Zoom with them, make sure they have their program. Within that program, the videos are all there. They can communicate with their coach. You know, they can have back and forth. We don't actually get on a Zoom and count reps. We've found that's just too hard to scale and not something that we've continued to do post-pandemic, but we are able to support our clients remotely through, you know, delivering their program with the videos, with the communication, with the accountability. Obviously, being in person with us is always going to be better. So we encourage them, if they can, to come in, you know, if they are in the area or they're close enough where they could drive to come once a month, twice a month, you know, whatever they can, so that it's a hybrid membership where we do get to see them in person, you know, as much as they can get in, but not everyone can and not everybody wants to. So we do support them no matter how they need us, basically.
Dan, are you as well doing any online, or have you found that post-pandemic is just everybody wants to come in?
Yeah, we've done very little of it post-pandemic. Obviously, you know, for 5 or 6 months, that's all we did during the pandemic was the online training, and it served its purpose why we needed it. But we've just had people that wanted to come back in person so much that we've kind of shifted all of our focus back to the in-person stuff. But similar to what Rachel said, we do have options where we can have people do like a remote program where they can do some stuff on their own. We use Bridge Athletic as well, so we can have them deliver their programs at home, especially for some of our golfers that don't live close by that want to do some of the TPI stuff at home. So it is a small option that we utilize, but I would say a majority of our people are coming back in person, and we don't do a ton of online stuff anymore.
Okay, and Sheldon?
Yeah, so around the pandemic, like everybody else, we did a ton of online training, and we have 3 select trainers who built such a strong little book from it. It just actually never really went away for them. So one of them has a schedule of about 3 sessions per week that they do purely just virtually. We have a very large senior population here at our facility. Our average age of our membership is 10 years older than the national average of a health club. And a lot of them really don't want to, you know, drive into the club. They're used to working out at home. They understand Zoom and how it works. The technology really was no issue for them, and they got comfortable with that. It just stuck. We don't grow it. We don't really nurture it a whole lot. It's just there, and it's kind of working. We have one other trainer who actually does the team training, the Metcon stuff I was telling you about. They actually prop up a camera twice a week, and they've got a select number of about 8 clients who are in different areas of the country who word of mouth want to join this trainer for the live session. They prop up the camera, they run a Zoom, they have a program they send them and the people in the room, push play, go, and they have the earbuds like I have on now, and they're actually coaching everyone at the same time, including the people who are at home on the Zoom. It's only 2 sessions a week at this point, but they're doing it. And
But
they're
it's still
paying
doing it, and it's still